Most marriages have trust and communication issues, which led to a divorce. So that's not a good thing. No. I'm telling you, there are attorneys that are hunter attorneys out there that look at every client as a piece of meat, and they're going to strip that piece of meat to the bone and leave for dead. They want to get as much money as they possibly can. That is not what we do. We are the type of attorneys that look at this, think about it, analyze it, and find really what happened, and also what's the best solution. We don't react. We respond, and entails a thoughtful and wise response. There's no place for revenge in a divorce. None whatsoever. You can't get it, but you can destroy yourself in the process of doing it. You do more damage to yourself and your soul. Focusing on healthy parenting is very, very important, because this child right now is learning how to play mom against dad and dad against mom.
There's definitely a division.
And the child is about to have all the power here. As they grow up, they are going to judge both of you based on what you do, not what you say about the other parent. You have to give each other the freedom and respect to honor their parenting style and honor your parenting style, and have the two coexist simultaneously. The ideal circumstance that any pair of parents can have is a very good and cooperative co-parenting relationship. Mm-hmm. And when you can do that, then you remain parents. Today, we're going to break this one down on the Lawyer Dana Show. My 8-year-old just told me is notoriously unreliable.
Right.
This mom is likely seeing this through a filter of, oh my God, what this could have been, as opposed to maybe what it was. This was actually something that was posted in a Facebook lawyers group on a forum. Lots of lawyers around the country participate in lots of these forums where they'll answer questions or give information or things, and people can come and ask random or anonymous questions about something to determine, hey, do I need a lawyer? Can I not have to get a lawyer? And if so, what kind of attorney would I need? So the initial response, and even my initial response, was, yes, this is allowed, and yes, this is bad parenting, if it is kind of how the mom portrayed it. But I want to break this down and analyze this about why this is notoriously, potentially misleading, and probably is misleading. So I can imagine a scenario where a father would say, the son is talking about who knows what. You don't know what the context of any of this was. And the father says, I know he's my son because we did a DNA test.
Right.
You tell the 8-year-old that, like, yes, he's your son. It's a father instructing and knowing. We even did a DNA test him because, well, if he doesn't look like you or something. So maybe it was he doesn't look like you. We did a DNA test. There's all kinds of probably fine and perfectly innocent reasons that a father might tell this to a child. But if it is what the mom is clearly afraid of, which is the dad saying something messed up like, I think your mom cheated on me, and we did a DNA test on your little brother because he doesn't look like me, and you're telling that to an 8-year-old, obviously from that angle, it's highly inappropriate to tell that to a child.
Yes.
But I do want to break this down about why it could be problematic. First off, my 8-year-old just told me. First off, that's hearsay.
Well, it's also like telephone with an 8-year-old.
Exactly. And an 8-year-old is a completely unreliable witness. Their perception of it, to go down from what an adult actually said, trying to teach a lesson to a child, and then you get the child's interpretation of it in child language and child world and child mind, and then your child communication back to adult. And
right, because their mind is not at the level that our mind is at.
Exactly. Can the son's father do a DNA test? Sure, that's fine.
Yeah.
Why not? Because a lot of times, I'm a big believer in trust but verify. Mm-hmm. So why not? If the child doesn't look like you, especially if they had marriage problems, and it says my son's father did a DNA test, this is obviously somebody who's already divorced. Mm-hmm. So if they're divorced and you have that issue in question, of course, a DNA test is a normal thing. And thankfully, it was his child. And if it wasn't, there's plenty of dads that will say, no, I've raised that child as my child, and it's my child, and always going to be my child because I accept that child. And because he's not biologically mine, doesn't matter. And in fact, under Texas law, the father of a married woman is presumed to be the father, even if they're not the biological father. And that presumption has to be overcome in court by the biological father in order to establish parental rights for the biological father. Biology alone doesn't do it. And the process of that is, yes, a DNA test happens. And as lawyers, we ask for DNA tests frequently all the time. Part of our due diligence, part of something that is very normal and good for them that the child is their child. Because he doesn't believe he is his son and doesn't look like him. Okay, that might be a mother even interpreting and misinterpreting or making assumptions or putting her fears in, even hearing that from the child.
Well, her saying that, is that her thoughts and not the 8-year-old telling her that?
Yes. The more and more that I thought about this over a couple of days, I realized, hold on, this is probably mom making some assumptions and jumping to some conclusions.
Well, if mom stepped out of the marriage too, it could be going on in the back of her head. And
also, again, hearsay from a child. What I'd like to see is a recording of this or a video of this to see exactly what it was doing. And I'd like to watch what the context was well before it and what the context is after it, because who knows what this could have been.
Mom could have been probing him too. Like, tell me what was said. Was this said?
Right. And the child, and when that happens, the child might be lying or telling the mom whatever it is that the child thinks that the mom wants to say, which a child is very prone to do. Children do that all the time. This can also be with an 8-year-old. What is happening here is the disjoint between both parents, even though they're not married anymore, which is fine. But this is why focusing on healthy parenting is very, very important, because this child right now is learning how to play mom against dad and dad against mom.
There's definitely a division.
And the child is about to have all the power here. Because the child already at 8 years old are learning, I get 2 Christmases. And they're trying to manipulate each one to outdo the other. And if that works, and the parents are not conscious of that, then all of a sudden the child learns how to pull and play mom's strings and learns how to pull and play dad's strings and get them disagreeing with each other like they probably did while they were married, because most marriages have trust and communication issues, which led to a divorce. So that's not a good thing. Really, what this mom probably needs to do is relax and chill out and just give guidance to the child. Don't worry about it. Well, you know what a DNA test does is it double checks and makes sure that the dad is the dad, and your little brother was the dad, and so you guys are blood related. That's how it works.
Right.
Does an 8-year-old know how sex or anything like that else works? Like, who knows? And maybe the dad. And in this, it's a good time to teach a lesson of, okay, well, trust but verify. There is a way that you can verify. So there is a DNA test, and you do that and you make sure. Because here's the thing.
But that's between 2 adults and not an 8-year-old.
I know, but babies could. There's a lot of reasons not infidelity that might not be the little brother. For example, babies got swapped in the hospital. Who knows? Can happen. But, are they having a conversation about how human reproduction with an 8-year-old and explaining that? Have they had the talk? I don't know. It seems like a terrible thing for a parent to say even to their own child about his little brother. It maybe if that's how it was taken, but I think that this is probably off and skewed. If it is exactly how this appears, then my answer stands. Yes, it is allowed. Yes, it is bad parenting, period. And my comment from lots of lawyers got a lot of thumbs up. But I wanted to take this one on the podcast to expound upon that, because there are too many attorneys that will just take that and, that's the truth, and play off of that.
Right.
We are the type of attorneys that look at this, think about it, analyze it, and find really what happened, and also what's the best solution. We don't react. We respond, and entails a thoughtful and wise response. That's the type of thing that we want to do. There are parents that if they had money and went to certain attorneys, and that attorney would say, we need to try and take custody away, and dad needs to be supervised. That's totally inappropriate. Let's bring a case. Give us $50,000 and we'll take this to court and fight again. We'll get you some revenge. A wise attorney will go, is it dumb? Yeah. Is it dangerous? No. This is not the type of thing that there is a case for, in my opinion. No. I'm telling you, there are attorneys that are hunter attorneys out there that look at every client as a piece of meat, and they're going to strip that piece of meat to the bone and leave for dead. They want to get as much money as they possibly can. That is not what we do. And I am telling everybody that ever works for me that watches this video, that everybody that ever wants to come work for us that watches this video, that's not what we do. We look and find healthy solutions. So this would be something I would counsel her on. I would talk to her. I would give her largely the same analysis that we did here on the podcast. And I would be trying to coach and encourage her that if you do have a problematic parent who is being very, very negative with the child, that is an opportunity for you to lead and parent and show something different and be the parent that the child can trust. Because the children, as they grow up, they are going to judge both of you based on what you do, not what you say about the other parent. So this child is somebody that the mom could give some peace and guidance to, and hopefully she did that, and hopefully she's just venting her frustrations here and asking a legitimate question. Hey, is this allowed? What is this? Give me some perspective. Give me some clarity on this. Totally fine.
Well, I get it. I get why. Well, first off, let's just say she was totally faithful in her marriage, and they got divorced, and she hears about this. She's probably feeling insulted. How dare you think this isn't your child? So there's that piece.
It's a human thing.
Yeah. And then also having her 8-year-old hear that. Yeah. Which we don't know how that went down either. Yeah. Because kids are kids and they don't hear things. I mean, think about it. When you tell your kid to do something, do they actually follow exact directions? No, they don't. They do it their way, or they miss half the stuff you told them to do. Like, give them 5 chores and maybe one gets done correctly. They don't listen all the way. So people need to take that into account in a situation like this. Yeah. Don't just take an 8-year-old's word. Right.
And that's also one of the reasons why when there's allegations about misconduct with the child, there are certain ways that if you ask them the questions, you're implanting that into them. Right. And you're implanting that into their mind, as opposed to other ways that those questions are asked, which is why, for example, we as attorneys generally never interview kids, and we have professional psychologists, psychiatrists, child experts that do this for a living that know exactly how to do this in a methodology that is more likely to be reliable. And that is very, very important, as opposed to parent, like you mentioned, grilling the child or something like that, which is not the best way to do. In fact, she's actually taking a better step, which is reaching out to a good attorney, the right attorney, and looking for guidance about this. And hopefully she doesn't want revenge and any of that, and hopefully she can move past this and help understand and get clarity. I hope she ever watches this, because I want her to have kind of that peace and understanding, and always focus on what you can do to help your child and guide them and to be calm and a very good parent. There's a few books that I recommend. One is called Parenting with Love and Logic, which is an excellent parenting book. Your children are going to grow up and understand the difference between you and the other parent. We've been doing this for 17 years, and I've seen kids grow up, and I've had our clients that we've done back years ago report back to us, and I've heard their children who are now adults reporting on this. I have talked to them about it, several of the children, and I've heard them, a couple of them that had no idea that I just happened to be at a place where my former client and 2 children were, and we were at an event for another mutual friend, and the children just started talking about it and giving testimonials about how great their dad was and how their mom used to always talk trash, and they always knew the whole time it wasn't true, and that he was always a great dad, and we just ignored it, and we lost a lot of respect for our mom for how bad she talked about you, because we knew it wasn't true. Right. Because of you did this, you did this, you did this, and it was a you did. You never said anything bad about mom. All of those things. You cooked for us, you cleaned for us, you provided for us, you were supportive, you helped us with our homework, you showed up to our games and events. You always were the one that we knew we could rely on and talk to. You gave us good guidance and good advice. You're a hero. And mom always was really mean to you, always talked badly about you, said all these terrible things that we knew weren't true. She still does it. And, we love her too, but we understand what that is. And don't ever think anything of it, Dad. And he was one of the people, happens to be one of the people that was instrumental in the brand that we came up with called Soft Divorce, because divorce doesn't have to be so hard. And I have his written permission to talk about his case, by the way, because he, instead of paying another $50,000 to go win the divorce case, He gave her enough money to buy a house so that his kids have a good place with him and with her. And it was something that really ingrained and instilled the concept of when you focus on healthy, you get really good results like that. And his kids are doing awesome now, as opposed to the ones that think, I got to punish the other side, I got to get my revenge. There's no place for revenge in a divorce. None. None whatsoever. You can't get it, but you can destroy yourself in the process of doing it. You do more damage to yourself and your soul. If we focus on what's healthy, that's what we get. If you look at the trees while you're skiing, you're going to hit the trees. If you focus on the space in between where it is that you want to go, that's where you're going to go, and you won't hit the trees. And where you want to go is towards healthy. That's why our goal is always healthy.
At the end of the day, like, a child loves both parents, correct? Like,
exactly.
That's natural. They love their parents. And if you're belittling their other parent to them, you're hurting that child.
That's right.
You have to remember that. You love your child. You don't want to hurt your child.
That's
you
right.
want to make sure your child is happy and healthy and secure. And when you do stuff like that, you are totally taking your child's relationship with that other parent and destroying it. You think that's what people think, but in the end, what you're doing is destroying your relationship with your child. And that relationship, like, if you want to not have your child have anything to do with you as they get older, that's what's going to happen.
I cannot tell you how often it happens where we will even advise our clients to lose a battle because you're going to win the war.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that, okay, we'll let them talk badly about you. And the children will grow up and will resent them for the way that they're acting. And believe me, there are plenty of things that we do to try to solve that, even from the other side, including making this video that hopefully as many people as possible will watch.
Right.
Because your children are going to punish you. You are going to pay a price for how you treat their other parent. It's going to happen. And so that's why we focus with our clients to get them through the divorce process in the healthiest way possible. And even if they're not divorced, if it's just a child custody case, to get them to have as good of a co-parenting relationship as we possibly can. And when we craft and customize something for them, oh my goodness, is it worth the money and time that we spend to find a good, healthy solution that works for them? Because then you can have healthy children like that client that we had so many years ago whose children are doing awesome.
If you alienate your children from one parent,
you're alienating them from you.
Yep.
It will not work.
It backfires.
It always backfires. And you might feel good right now, but you're selling the long term for the short term. And I'm going to tell you what, you do not want to be there in the nursing home on your deathbed and your kids won't see you because they think you're the piece of crap that you used to be accusing their other parent of being. They are going to judge you for what you do, and what you say, but not the words that you say.
If the other parent is a bad parent or they're doing things they shouldn't, that light will shine.
That's correct.
So let that light shine on its own, and you be an advocate for the parent in a positive way to your kids, because you want your kids to not think that you're the bad guy.
Right. And you saying anything bad about their other parent is you being a bad guy.
Right.
You have to figure out a way. And if there's a lesson there and the other parent is doing something wrong, you have to figure out a way to speak to that child without it personifying and making the parent bad.
Right.
You can say, I disagree with that decision. Your other parent and I disagree about that decision. Here is the way that I believe about it.
Right.
That's one of many different methods. It's up to you to figure out the method to do that without the other parent being bad, because children are not 50% them and 50% you. They are 100% them and 100% you, undivided, simultaneously. Yeah. And when you say that the other parent is bad, it means they are bad as a child. They're children. They cannot separate the two.
Well, a child's going to be defensive and want to defend their other parent. It's just going to be natural.
Exactly.
Because they love that parent just as much as they love the other parent.
That's right.
And they feel like the other parent's beating up on their other parent, they're going to get really defensive over that.
Exactly.
And then you're going to have problems with your child Your child's not going to want to listen to you, and you're going to lose all that credibility. So don't do that.
The ideal circumstance that any pair of parents can have is a very good and cooperative co-parenting relationship. And when you can do that, then you remain parents. When you can't cooperate with the other parent, you've given the child all of the power, and that's extremely dangerous for the development of the child and the relationships among the children and the parents, because they learn how to manipulate you against the other parent and manipulate the other parent against you. Just because you're not together anymore as spouses doesn't mean that you're not mom and dad to the child, it doesn't mean that you're not still parents. And the fact that you're not living together as spouses and having a dating relationship or a marriage relationship anymore, you still need to do your best to cooperate regarding the children. Even if you have vastly different parenting styles, you have to give each other the freedom and respect to honor their parenting style and honor your parenting style, and have the two coexist simultaneously with as little friction between the two of you as possible. And by tending to give the other parent the benefit of the doubt instead of giving the child the benefit of the doubt, because the child is going to tell you some things that the child wants you to think or believe in order to try and gain power over the other parent, because the child doesn't want to be disciplined. Right. The child doesn't want to be disciplined, whether it's punishment or whether it is growth and strength. Children want to be lazy and do what they want to do and follow their whims, as opposed to learning, growing, becoming stronger, becoming wiser. So don't let the child manipulate you into having a bad relationship with the other parent, and vice versa. That's the best advice I can give to any parents.
And I think it's amazing when two parents that are divorced, but they have a great co-parent relationship, and that child gets in trouble at one parent's house, and that other parent's like, okay, well, you're coming to my house this weekend. That's punishment still plays in my house.
You do not undo a punishment by the other parent in order for you to gain favor with the child. That is terrible. And your child will grow up to be a bad adult, or will probably, if they're wise, they'll resent that you ever did that, because it's going to set them back for a number of years in life before they figure it out. You're creating problems for them in their teens and 20s, and that can lead even well into later at life. So please focus on what's healthy. End the fighting, not increase it if there's any way possible. And co-parent well with the other parent. Take a co-parenting class, even if they won't, and invite them to take a co-parenting class, and say, please, I would even offer to pay for their co-parenting class on the other side if they take it. But find those techniques, find the things that you can do in order to have a healthy relationship and grow up great children that will be an honor to you and an honor to themselves, with discipline and wisdom and strength. This is the Lawyer Dana Show.